Sir Nick, you ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Let's roll. Everyone, welcome. Happy Father's Day. Welcome to Hang. We're hanging with Sir Nick Faldo at the U.S. Open, presented by On Point Golf. I want to thank our friends from On Point. Couple awesome giveaways. We'll have a trivia question, which Sir Nick came up with himself, which will surprise you. And if you come up with this one, I'm going to say very impressive. And a couple other giveaways by our friends from On Point. The other thing too, as with any Hang, if you're new to Hang, we want to hear from you. Drop a question in the chat box. Producer will prompt you. We'll put you on camera. Ask Sir Nick a question. The beauty of this is we're watching the U.S. Open as you all are watching the U.S. Open. You have a question about Oakmont, a question about the golf swing. How does Adam Scott hit it like he does? How does Sammy Burns hit that power cut? If you want to know, how the hell do I hit it 30 yards further? So when I go play tomorrow, Sir Nick will get onto his TrackMan, and we'll have a little bit of fun. So let's get started. Sir Nick, another delay. I think this might be our Hang Faldo Packer delay. What have you seen so far? Walk me through, and then we're going to talk a little golf.
Well, unfortunately, what I'm seeing, look at that nasty black cloud. But talk about put these guys through the ringer for the week. Oh, my goodness. Is Victor, we know he comes over the top, but if the club face is shut, he's going to get one of them. But, the guys have been put through a really incredible test. We know Oakmont, how difficult it is. And they've kind of thrown every kind. They had a chance, delays, and many of these guys on top of the board, obviously only Adam Scott, a major champion, but that was a long time ago. So basically toying for your first major, as they say, it's, as Elton John says, it ain't going to be easy from now on.
So off of that, are you blinders on and just doing your own thing? Are you scoreboard watching? Let's go all the way from Burns all the way. I know obviously Rahm's in at +4, but guys who are +2, run me through the mindset.
Well, yeah. I mean, number one, you're 100% concentrating on what you're doing. You're obviously aware you're playing with Adam Scott, so that's a big help. But you are equally aware that there's a long way to go, and you've got to get to the clubhouse. I mean, somebody easily posted 2 over, and that would be quite a challenge, wouldn't it, to get you've got a long way to go. I mean, they're just starting the back nine now. So you imagine if somebody, I'm not sure where the closest is, how far up on that leaderboard, somebody could post a score.
Well, here you go. Scotty's missed so many.
What I call a, half a chance. But
he's still at 17.
Yeah, somebody could easily get blasting away and maybe have a great finish. Posted even 2 or 3 over would be very scary if you've got to go all this way to try and win your more than likely your first major.
You know what I thought was interesting? You and I talked about it this morning. Sam Burns likes to hit a cut. The first 7 holes had left hole locations, which had to make him uncomfortable. It's going to be fascinating. The next 2 are 6 on from the right and 11 is 4 on from the left. So you'd figure if you could settle down and lick your chops. I mean, as a player, are you looking at that, or is it just this tee shot right here ahead of you?
Well, that was a great catch of yours, Pat-Man, to spot, setting up a golf. I've never, as you said, we've never really heard of that. Generally, they, there's 2 left, 2 right, that or 1, 1. There's always a nice blend, but to open with 7 down the left side for a fader, and especially if a couple of holes were left to right wind as well.
Absolutely.
He's like, well, you're not giving me much to work with, but the U.S. Open's all about safety. You look at this, you look at where the flag is, you think, well, what's the best I can do? You don't have to get carried away. You literally never try to overforce it, because if you end up, look at the banks of the bunkers. A number of guys that we've watched this week who can't even make a stance.
Yeah.
The rough is obviously brutal. Round the greens is tough. These greens are famously brutal. So yeah, that's losing the head this week.
Yeah.
It's been quite. Oh, hello. See, there you go. Carlos Ortiz
up the hill.
2 under on the day. Is that right? Wow, for 2 over. I mean, there's a man to possibly post a score.
Yeah. And even somebody like this, Spawn, who had one of the worst breaks we ever saw on the second hole, maybe the weather delay is something for this guy to go, okay, I can totally reset. I'm still in this tournament. Let me start from scratch. I mean, that was from of it. His only chance to win was that weather delay.
Yeah, a lot to deal with when you're computing in your mind all these different challenges on the green speeds. They're going, they had them at 15 on the stimp, which is mighty quick, especially considering the slopes as well. And then, as you saw the rain splashing up on a couple of shots a few minutes ago, the golf course is pretty sopping wet right now.
So obviously, your brilliance at Augusta National with greens like this, when greens are so hard and then the rain comes in, how long does it take for you to understand the new speed?
Yeah, you see,
how long does it take for you to adjust?
Well, that's pro golf. You the best adapt very quickly, but I could used to call it's a professional guess, isn't it? You've got lots of experience. I mean, you've got a footage from the hole. You've got to guess the speeds. I mean, look at that one. He just kind of nobbled that, and you've got to be pretty ingenious with your repertoire of shots.
By the way, Bobby McIntyre was your danger man this morning. That was your keep an eye on man.
Yeah,
he's still in it.
It's funny, after the cut was made, 7 over, and you had obviously Rory, good example, was pretty, deflated. Like, why do I want to be around? And I thought, yeah, but you doesn't matter what the leaders do. Leaders are going to come backwards in the US Open, almost 9 times out of 10. And that's when you'd have to say to yourself, well, if I can get to 2 or 3 over, I'm still in this. So how do I do that? So that's equally a very difficult mindset. When you play week after week on tour and you're 12 to 20 under, and suddenly you're 6 over and you have to say, I'm still in it. I feels like I'm playing badly. Look at this score. Just made another bogey. Nothing's really going, but you think, if I could just turn 3 shots around, boy, am I more than
right there.
Really in it. It's a very difficult mindset to, as I said, you could be 8 over and quickly get back to 5, and then you're suddenly thinking, well, if I can get to 3, actually you feel like I'm only two.
Question. By the way, back right pin, Sammy Burns.
So there you go. Yeah, that will. Yeah, that was
chops.
I'm not sure what's happening, and that rain's. They look at that rain's coming again. Black clouds. I've got a horrible feeling, Pac-Man. We're jinxing the weather.
But we still have stuff. If they blow the horn, if you were with us at the Players,
our 3 attempts to do a hang live, folks.
No,
they've got a river coming down the fairway. They're going to be coming in.
You know what?
Minutes.
Hey, much like what these people are battling, we battle too, right? We want it tough. Anyone can win the Bob Hope. We don't want the Bob Hope. We want to win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, people don't appreciate it from our days of television what we go through, and the turmoil of rain delays, what's coming, what could possibly.
And from Aaron from Georgia. Weather delays, how does it affect? Does it affect everybody differently? Is there something you would try to do? Is there a pattern you had?
No, well, they're spoiled in these days because obviously they have players' lounges or clubhouses or locker rooms, plenty of space to go. Everybody's different. You either sit with your mates and you're telling stories, or we're in for an hour. You could actually put your feet and have a snooze.
Well, unless you're next to Wyndham Clark's locker, right? You want to kind of get a little bit further away, allegedly. Other than that,
he's kicking the doors. Do you mind not kicking that 100-year-old lovely piece of
no need to lock it.
Facing forward, and I mean that leaves you a brutal putt. Anytime you're topside here, coming down, and as I said, you're guessing, professional guess. Wow, this man's going to get to. He's going to get to 1. He's 1 over. Look at
Let me ask you,
at
age 20 than you did 40, was there anything in terms of wet clothes or stretching or?
Yeah, well, you go, as you get older, you go stretching. You're right. They've got facilities now. You could head to the gym. You got a lot of guys travel with their own personal trainers and that sort of thing. I think the most sensible thing is just to avoid the buffet line. Just go and get suddenly they say, right, you're going in 30 minutes. But But it's, in my day, we were guessing all the time. Now there's so much more organized. You're going to be sitting for 45 minutes. You're going to then, you do your maths as we had earlier on. You're going to then warm up for 30 minutes. You kind of get a clue what you can switch off, or you can do the Gary player and sit there and visualize holding a 40-footer for 45 minutes and come out and hold a 40-footer.
And reminder for everybody out there, we want to hear from you. So log on there in that chat, hop on, ask Sir Nick any questions, anything that you've seen. Somebody just asked a question too. We had talked about before, Todd, adjusting to the greens after a weather delay on a golf course like this in Augusta National, that you knew you were going to have 60 footers that broke.
Yeah.
You were going to have crazy chip shots for the viewers out there and for the average players. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but how much did you differ your pre-shot or your pre-warm up at a course like this than you would, say, a Hilton Head or a Riviera or any other place?
Well, the smartest thing you can do is, I'm still living on, or my career was living on great Ben Hogan lines or Sam Snead. And Hogan said, well, practice the clubs you're going to be using at that particular golf course. So if you're playing a golf, you better rehearse, go in the morning, get really good at those, well, really the safety wedge shots. Because if I've missed the fairway and I knock it out, and I'm not panicking, I've got a 90-yarder, I can, and hopefully get up and down. So that's, as you know, that's what you got to keep doing to keep the momentum going. So, and obviously at the other end, you need somewhere. Wow, that looks pretty. I'm just watching the screen.
So real quick, so what was your normal, were you an hour guy, hour and 10?
No, I was always about an hour and 20. I like that, but you would change it. So obviously Augusta, you go and you do, when you arrive, I go and do what I called my mechanical work on the putting green. Like, all your short putts, your 6-footers, maybe you've got lines or you've got some little device. So you get to see that you're looking squarely at 6 to 10-footers. Your stroke is really good. Come back, few chips, come back and do some long putts to get the feel. What about St Andrews? I never forget. And then your preparation can start actually way beyond. Great Fanny Sooners. And the putting green was 60, 80 yards long. And I said, wow, seriously, this is perfect, Fanny. I said,
back left birdie, right birdie.
There you go. He got one. Wow. That's 2 birdies we've seen so far. That's pretty darn good.
So it's that long? What?
Yeah, we practiced on the, hitting 20, 30, 40, 50-yard putts to get ready for St Andrews. But obviously you have to do that when you get there because, that's what happens at St Andrews. You'll get 30-yard putts, which is 100. There's no little extra push in it, is there?
How about if they do blow the horn? Again, these are all what ifs. And poor Sam Burns has to sit on a final round lead twice, sleep on it. That's pretty rare.
Well, it's better than sitting on a 6-bat lead.
Yeah, you're right.
You might as well say, well, I'm in this position for a reason because I've played great throughout the week. And you just, hey, easy.
Yep. Again, reminder, On Point Golf, we want to thank our friends. Just click on that banner below. Nick, we want to talk about them a little bit too, but how critical is it to align putts? I mean, and that's what they specialize in. With everything that you got to worry about today, getting back to the basics, it's something that On Point Golf and what they believe in and what their device is,
let's just stick to 4 main parts of putting. You got a basic 15-footer. You got to read it. You got to find out your own little formula. So when you look down, you look and go, this is a cut right. And you've got to be pretty darn precise on that. So you got to work. Second point, obviously, you've got to be able to, can you line your putter face up to that 1 cut right? And that's when having a little device or something where you can, put it down and point it in the right direction. You get a chance to stand back and have a look at that. And it obviously makes a difference how you line up your body because a lot of club golfers will go, well, it's a cut right, but I'm still aiming the hole and I'll just open the putter up a bit more and I'll give it a bit of a push as well. And they steer it. Whereas pros, as you know, you've heard the expression of every putt is straight. You think, no, it's not. But yeah, that's all you can do is send a putter, rather a golf ball, forward squarely off the putter face. So that means we're moving our straight to 1 cut right. So that's where you move everything around that fraction. So obviously alignment is one of the big key 4 things. Obviously stroke's important next, striking, and then distance control is the next. So if you get all 4 of those right, you're going to be one heck of a putter.
Yep. And that's onpointgolf.us. Great Father's Day gift, by the way. So I did not receive mine from Nick's yet, but the show's still, we've got some time still. So, all right, Sammy Burns, 11, 4 on from the right, another back right.
AJ, please.
Oh,
I think we might be bringing on somebody here. Let's double check here. All right, we are bringing in AJ Griffin, Sir Nick. Now, his grandpa is somebody that's a golf swing that I know you mimicked for a long time, Alan Doyle.
oh yeah.
AJ is in LaGrange, Georgia right now. AJ, what question do you have for Sir Nick? What do you got?
How do you handle coming down the stretch? You worry about your score?
How do you handle coming down the stretch?
Do you worry about
How do you handle coming? So, well, the secret is you don't eat those chocolates that you've got on the table right in front of you. Yeah, you're busted. You're busted. Yeah, you can't have too much of a sugar. Actually, dark chocolate's very good for you, especially as you get older. But you don't want too much of a sugar. You are coming down the stretch. The most important thing is obviously we call it, staying in the moment, present time, all that. So you can't get too carried away. You can't be saying, oh, I don't really, and you're on the 14th hole. You still got, a few more holes to play, and you can't say, oh, I don't really like 17, and 18 is very tough, and boy, I made a mess of the 9th. You got to really focus, and I was very auditory. I was always talking to myself, and I want to do now. Well, then you're standing there either on the tee, and you think, well, I'd love to hit it in that fairway in between the bunkers. You see what you're doing, you're visualizing. Obviously, you've got to have a swing to make that work. And you do, and you wear that out. You go shot for shot, just like that. You get to your next shot. It may not be in the fairway, it might be in the rough, so you have to deal with it. What do I want to do now? Well, if I can land it on the front edge and make it release. You see, so by talking to yourself, you have to be in present time. Very, very, very important. You don't want to be going forward.
Did your mind wander? Did your mind wander at any point? Sure. What would a green jacket look like with me? What would a claret jug look like? Yeah. And if it did, how did you get out of that?
Yeah, well, you have that is experience, and that is learning. Yeah, there's no problem in having a goal out there. Your goal of the week is when you arrive at, the better you get. I'd like to win a claret jug, yeah, or a green jacket. That's my goal. And you can visualize all of that. What do I look like on the 18th green? And yeah, but then you have to come all the way back, to the first tee on Thursday, and you start the journey. It's a bit like the line, you start a journey of 1,000 steps with one step. You start a journey in a car. It's a great analogy. At night, you're going to go 10 miles to a restaurant. It's your favorite steak there. You even know what it's like. You know where you're going to sit in the restaurant, but you've got to get in the car, and it's at night, and you put the headlights on, so you can only see 150 yards. Get me? But you know where you're going. That's your goal. But you've got to deal with things. There'll be traffic, and there'll be an accident, and something on the way. So that's like a golf course. There's your goal. I'd love to win this tournament, but I've got to navigate lots of different golf holes, lots of different situations, playing great, not playing so good. But then, that's my way of helping to, when people say, oh, you're thinking, he wants it too much. No, you must have a goal. You must have a finish line. Every project has a finish line. Even 100 yards has a finish line, has a tape. Well, that's where you've got to fit. That's the finish line. You completed the project. So you've got to visualize the whole blooming thing, and you've got to visualize finishing the project, which in our world is getting a trophy on the 18th green.
So AJ, can you tell Nick, the last couple of years you had the opportunity to attend the U.S. Open along with your grandfather. Can you walk through, Nick, some of the guys you were able to meet and shake their hands of? I think he'll be pretty impressed by this list.
I met Tiger Woods.
Might have heard of him.
Might have heard of him.
Phil.
Might have heard of him.
I bet Rory.
Yeah. Okay, he starts with the big guy. What about the old ones?
I met DeChambeau.
Oh, yep, counts.
I met Scheffler.
Yeah.
I met Justin Thomas.
Wow. Jeez.
Matt Kuchar.
I met Matt Kuchar.
Not too bad.
And that's it.
Pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good. Well, AJ, my man, tell that whole crew down there, wish everybody a happy Father's Day, and keep an eye out for those magnets on those refrigerators. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, AJ. Take care, bud. That's great. That's impressive. All right, so Nick, let's talk a little bit of golf, and we got another guest on our way here.
Well, as we are watching, I mean, as I was commenting earlier, the guy, Sam Burns, has got a same routine. That was obviously a sticky, heavy impact on that one. That didn't get there, did it? Hit down that ground. That ground is changed, or there's one of these slopes where you see you can't. That's all. So you can't tell if that ball's sitting 1, 2, or 3 inches off the ground. You go hit down on it. You hit it high on the blade. I mean, you've got to know what you're doing on that one. You don't just grab a 60-degree on that one. You need less loft to get the thing to pop forward. Otherwise, you just go straight underneath that one.
Yeah. So Adam's got to know that and be licking his chops here. A reminder for everybody out there, post your questions in the chat, just like we had AJ. We have another guest joining us in a moment. Answer whatever questions, and then Nick's going to get in the simulator here in a little bit too and do some golf. So, boy, you know he'd love to have been in the bunker rather than where that was. If you're
well, I think so. Yeah, that's a good example where you would rather be in sand. You know what? It's at least more predictable because as we've watched through the week, playing off these banks. Look at this splatty line, and that one, oh boy, oh my! Well, it looked like he just came back, but he might have a chunk. He's got all that fescue right behind, so that either came out as a wet, screaming fly, and that's tough to do. I'm not sure how he managed to. I mean, that's gone long, popped up. And
it spins off of it. Wow.
No, it's stuck in that. This is like a good preparation. That doesn't look so good. This is wow. I tell you what, the weather might be even better in when they get to Port Rush in Northern Ireland. Because at least the rain, when it rains there, it just sinks. And it can rain for a couple of days, and the golf course was still won't get soggy. They'd be perfect. So, wow.
Well, let's bring on our next guest, Nick Bradley. Nick, I want to make sure that you can join us. How are you, sir? Nick, who's worked with On Point Golf for quite a long time. And Sir Nick, I know you guys have a good rapport. So, Nick, first of all, happy Father's Day and welcome. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Sir Nick of Welling. How are you, sir?
Yeah, you're looking good. It's from window to window. And where are you sitting? You indoors or outdoors?
I'm in my apartment because the weather here, which is 5 hours east of Oakmont, it's just as bad. It's terrible.
Oh, okay.
So all of my afternoon lessons cancelled.
Oh, well then, what is the secret of this little device?
Yes, so this is the marker, and it was designed by Briston Peterson, who very successful guy out in Aspen, Colorado. And so with putting, when I coach my students, I think you've got to think differently the closer and the further you are away from the hole in term, and keeps things going in a round of golf. I think you've got to have like a sniper mentality, which is more accurate because if you're by 3 or 4 millimeters, you can miss the putt. So accuracy, the closer you get, is absolutely key. So this marker is great because it's kind of like 3D. It matches the ball. It's like a camel's hump. And they know through the science with what they call eye acuity that it's easy to line up this marker with the ball more accurately than if you took it away and just had a 2-dimensional coin. Yeah. And then you're like screwing around with the ball and it's like, is this right? Well, with this, you get the marker correct first and then wallop, the ball goes down and you take it away. Now, because it's lumpy, it's 3-dimensional. If you're in someone's line, you can take the coin off on the bottom and bingo, you can use it. So when you're in that magic range, that 7 foot and in, you have to have a sniper mentality. Accuracy is more important. and then pace line. It gives such clarity, and it's done. You're done.
Yeah, good point, because you can put that down, walk away while the other guys are, messing around. You can be viewing that right from behind and think, oh, it's either good or I need to tweak it a fraction more, or even when you then put the ball down, you just tweak it a fraction more and then you're good. Hey, are you a big believer in, I'm just watching the golf for a split second, Pac-Man. Look at he gave that a 60-yard swing from 20 yards out.
And the 11th hole was a reprieve for them at only 400 yards with a back.
Yeah, sorry, they're on
right,
11 now. Yeah.
Licking their chops, but luckily get out here with a bogey.
Well, this is even tough now. Guessing downhill with the pace, and that's gone. No, it hasn't.
So Nick, let me ask a question. Well, what's the feedback been from your students? Are they surprised when they use this, when they use the on point, and realize, why haven't I been doing this for a long time?
Not really, no. I mean, that if they've been used to lining up the ball, it's just another tool in your tool bag that just makes that even more accurate, right? Mm-hmm. So it just confirms what you're seeing.
Reinforces,
so
right.
I use something I call the 100% rule, which is because the eyes are designed to see horizontally here, right? If you're marking up the ball there, then that's the true definition of where you're lining up. And a lot of people say, yeah, but when I get over the ball this way, it doesn't kind of look right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you use this and you sign off, what I call, okay, if you're 100% here as well, is I actually unit, as we know, the putter head is it got to come either level through the ball or slightly ascending, right? So what I do is I actually train golfers by putting the golf ball here and the putter head just behind the marker. So if you clatter down onto it, you're going to know that you've made a bad stroke. So I actually train the golfers to put the putter head here, miss the marker this way.
Are you a big believer in it? Because I know, people say, oh, I'll just hit it. They see a little bit of break, but I'll just hit it straight and hit it firmer. And I know I heard from the, from the aim point guy, if you see break, then you have to aim outside the hole.
Well, I think the whole thing about pace, and this is where I slightly, God bless him, this is where I slightly disagree with Dave Peltz, is 14 inches, is I think pace is totally determined with what's going on past the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, you took number 11 at Augusta, front left. If you went...
I'd agree with that. Downhill, you want dead weight, perfect weight, and uphill, you decide, you can have a go at it. You can have a ramming speed if necessary, and you still learn to see the bigger breaks.
I call that tiptoeing in through the front door.
Yeah,
just tiptoeing in, right? Like you were 17 and you were drunk and you were just trying to get into the house before mum and dad found out.
I was never
just tiptoeing through the front door.
Never drunk at 17. Never. By the way, guys, the leaders are just making a mess right now. It's getting a little serious.
John Rahm just might want to hang around for a little bit.
It's unbelievable. Well, yeah, there's a couple of guys. It's funny. I said to myself, I wish I'd blurted it out louder. I thought two over could, after 36 holes, 2 over could win this. And it looks that way. Very close.
Nick, let me ask you a question. So in 2003 at Bethpage, you finished 5th.
Yeah.
And I think you must have, about 44, 45?
Yeah, I was number 1 putter that week.
Yeah. So, but my question is, obviously, Adam is kind of hanging around. Adam's 44. Now, do you think he's looking at this kind of like last chance saloon or another opportunity? How's he looking at it?
Well, I agree. I think
good question.
I think he's looking at this and saying, look, I've worked really hard and this may be my last opportunity. And so I think it's more of how do you want to be on the day? Can you say to us, I'm going to go out and play really brave and bold and give it tighten up and everything. It's going to cost you. This might be the one great opportunity, a bit like Tiger in 19. I definitely felt that was special for him. He knew this could be. And another good point, nobody up there is really experienced at finishing this off. Everybody else is going for literally a first-time major.
The other point to that too, he's on record of saying he needs one more major for a Hall of Fame. I mean, now you're talking 14 wins, won the Players, won the Masters, 11 times on the President's Cup. You imagine that doesn't ring into your mind, but he's the one who's brought that up. So
that's technically not true because unfortunately,
well, let me tell you something. Winning the US Open would be way more important than getting into that Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
it's like the best instructor list.
Yeah, they can't take away. Stuck around. I mean, he must be saying to them, somebody gets in at 2.
34 and 18 playing at 502. It's almost, can someone sneak in with an eagle on 17 playing at 321 and it's up a little bit, because there's just, you're running out of holes where you can make a birdie. Well, we've got a fan question. Briston, come on in. Let's have you ask a question to this crew. Welcome and happy Father's Day. Appreciate you joining us.
To you as well. Hey, Sir Nick, good seeing you again, and Nick Bradley, good seeing you as well.
I
had the pleasure. I just came back from a golf trip in Southwest England and had breakfast with the Black Knight Gary Player.
Oh boy!
And my question to you is: you got one golf course to play, the last round. Which course are you going to play?
Well, probably St Andrews, because I think it makes the whole experience really special. That's a heck of a shot. Just saw that. Is that Tyrrell again?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody. So, St Andrews, as you know, is special. The whole experience, the whole, the history of the golf course. I just learning. I'm a big fan of 12 holes. I learned the other day that St Andrews had 12 and then went to 22 and then came back to 18. So that's quite fascinating. I think this is the new distance, 12 holes. But I love St Andrews. I love that view. I think is that the whole skyline of St Andrews and the steeples. That in golfing views is, I think, the greatest view in golf.
And I'm going to interrupt with one thing here. Our great friends at Oakmont Golf, they have a great giveaway. The first 5 people who visit their Instagram account, DM their name, shipping address, and choice of ball marker will win a free On Point, or go to onpointgolf.us. Nick, talk about how great that is. Father's Day gift on the banner below. Let me get back. Briston, let me ask you that same question. One to play, where are you going and why?
Well, I think it's a common theme. It was the same answer that Gary Player gave. So 2 of the greatest players in golf, Sir Nick Faldo and Gary Player.
Going to St Andrews.
Yep. St Andrews was the answer. And I've been fortunate to play there once myself, and it's pretty special.
How many push-ups did you do after the 5 pieces of bacon? What did you spin through that theory at that? Nick, how much food at Masters Tuesday night dinner? How much food does Gary put down, and what Champions Den did he eat the most food from?
Years, Gary's telling us to eat herbs, berries, and grass, full of seeds and what. So, and then very occasionally, he's sitting there. He had the steak this year, and because the Scottish chefless steak was this big, we all had a 2-pound steak, honest. Each so we all looked at each other, so we can't finish that. And just they could have divided them in quarters. We'd have been very happy, honestly. So we have some fun. I always sit next semi-Heimlich maneuver. He was choking on a shrimp one year, and he's like, "What's the story?" I'm thinking it's enough. We have to give him a quick wallop. So. This year he had a chunk of steak and a little, and I'll really throw him under the bus. And about 3 when you're 89. Got to live it up.
All right, so let me change the question. In the United States, Briston, Sir Nick, one course. We've said St. Andrews in the world. United States only. It's always a fun question.
I go to Riviera. I like Riv.
Wow.
Riv. I think it's this is serious. This putt. Oh, Tyrrell won.
Tied for the lead. No, sorry, he's one back. Burns easy.
Yeah, I like Riviera. Man, that was out there every day. I think Riv would be a nice golf course to play.
Briston, what do you take? Where are you going in the States?
Yeah, so I would go Prairie Dunes. I asked the same question to the Black Knight, and he said Pine Valley.
Yeah, yeah, Pine Valley is great. It's the only time I've been there, they knew it. Well, I was only world number one at the time. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you
That's
have an
all I
on
could-
point?
and
Did you use an on point marker? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, we hadn't even car. We were too poor. We couldn't even afford to put a line
I
on the ball in
understand.
our
That
day.
answer is no, right?
Yeah,
we could have got you 72 without doing a damn thing different.
Nobody invented putting the line on the ball.
Yeah. Well, Briston, we really appreciate you joining us. Thank you. If there's anything else, we don't want to get you out of here, but if there's anything else we can get into, let us know if there's something else we can cover for you.
Yeah, I think maybe just a few touch points from our brand ambassador, teaching brand ambassador, Nick Bradley, who's a big fan of On Point. Our primary brand ambassador is Jim Furyk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's been, there are lots of training aids out there and lots of pieces of equipment. And this isn't a marker now. It's now a piece of equipment, because we have a saying in pro golf at the highest level: when there's doubt, there's no doubt, right? You just don't do it. And with anything that you can stack in your favor with putting, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Horizontal read that I talked about, when you're over the ball, because you've got the confidence that the marker has given you, you just totally buy into the line. So, even if it's got a ton of break, that's it. You're just there because the marker has given you that confidence with the eye acuity, the eye accuracy that it gives you. So listen, if anything is in your bag to go in the bag, and as we know, if you think about a 7-foot putt just for a second, it's a putt left after an average chip. It's the putt left after an over putt, can be the result of a really good approach shot. So only 1 in 4 occasions is that putt there to improve your score. In the end, it's there to keep the momentum going, or you drop a shot. That's why these putts on tour, and we're watching it now in the golf, are absolutely critical. The magic 7 foot. So you need to be accurate, and this just stacks it in your favor.
And Nick, I'm going to just touch on the golf that we're watching here. We talked about, and we'll get back to this in a sec.
It's going to be, I'll say it one more time, who gets the clubhouse first? I wouldn't like to be playing the last 3 holes.
But if Russell can chip this in, this changes everything at +3.
Even Bobby McIntyre, he's on the 14th. So he's the next one up, the 14th hole. So he could be first to the clubhouse. I mean, that would be quite a target, 2 over.
Well, Scheffler's, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Scheffler, wow.
Right. This is a big tee shot here too on 14. Hey, so Nick Bradley, let me ask you another question. We talked a little bit about Jim Furyk. The feedback that Furyk gave, is it pretty much the same across the board when dealing with players? Because I think that the brilliance of On Point Golf is that whether you are a Jim Furyk who shot sub 59s, a 58 on tour, major champion, could have won here if he didn't bogey 17 the year that Cabrera won, all the way to an 18 handicap. It's rare in golf when you have a device and something that helps players from all over the landscape.
Yeah, because short putts, we know in the history of the game, they can be an absolute nightmare. I mean, even going back to Doug Sanders, 1970, you look at Jack Nicklaus, 1960 at Cherry Hills, misses a 2-foot putt. You go on and on and on through the history of the game, and it's these small putts which are the absolute difference makers, right? Or can be. So, it's just a stupid shot to throw away when you can actually put everything in your favor. So as a professional at the top of the game, as a player, you don't have these shots to lose, right? You just don't have it. It either costs you money or it costs you a win. So again, it's all about, and these are USGA and RNA approved, right? So you can use them in tournaments, use them at the top level, use them on the Champions Tour as they're being used. So you may as well stack everything in your favor to make these putts. You may as well do it.
And the other brilliance too, you talk about that 1 7-footer around. over 4 days, that's 4 shots. We're looking right now at the top 10 players are separated by 4
Yeah.
shots. That's one
Yeah.
of those a day. How critical and how important that is. It's amazing.
Absolutely critical, yeah. And as I say, it's all about those marginal gains, especially in major championships.
Very good, chaps.
Well, we want to thank you all for everything you've done. We have a trivia question coming up, which is Nick wanted to make fun of himself a little bit, which I thought was very interesting. Not really make fun of yourself because you played your ass off, but it has to do with the 2000 U.S. Open.
It's just my trivia question.
It is. There's a trivia question
It's just
coming
my
up.
trivia. So in the famous 2000 U.S. Open, since it's U.S. Open week at Pebble Beach, when
So are you going with it? Is this the official trivia time?
This is it. Why not?
Okay. All right.
What do you think? What do you want to
Yeah.
say?
It's up to you. No, you're it will be a free On Point golf 3D ball marker. So I think we should do it.
Why not?
Fire away. Let's see if anybody can figure this one out.
I've got to try and remember not to give it away. So obviously Tiger won it. Ernie finished second. I finished a very creditable
T7.
T7. Oh, thanks. You just
T7.
T7. But here's the question: how many back from Tiger was I?
Now Tiger finished at 12 under. He won by 15. So we'll that's the only hints we'll give. So again,
you're giving it away.
Not. But again, On Point golf trivia. And again, even if you don't win it, the banner below, incredible Father's Day gift. Like we're talking about, the best players in the world, those shots you can pick up, whether you're playing your member guest, playing against your buddy. What Scotty Scheffler would love to have picked up a couple of those 7-footers throughout the whole point.
Yeah.
But again, click on that banner below. And again, if you guys have anything else to add before we let you guys go.
Actually, talking about trivia, here's a great trivia question. Which was the first men's major championship in regular majors, right, men's, to have been won with graphite shafts in an iron?
In irons?
In an iron.
Well, is it quite recent?
No. And we've already mentioned his name tonight.
Was it Gary?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they were Shakespeare shafts.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Fishing rods.
I'm not gonna throw him under the bus on that. Yeah, they were fabulous Shakespeare shafts. Yeah,
I think it was
they make fishing rods. God, my goodness, at Carnoustie, yeah.
68 in Carnoustie.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there might be an asterisk to that trivia question.
Oh.
I won't say any more.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, meanwhile, I'm just watching Mr. Burns battling with the ground surface now. You know, these guys are hitting shots and water's coming up. He's just pulled a approach shot into the green there. So talk about getting difficult. Talk about throwing everything at you to deal with.
So, Sir Nick, what are we going to coming down the stretch? I mean, what is this now? I know I asked you before, leaderboard looking time, or are you just under the assumption that everyone's coming at you and you just got to do what you can do at this point?
Yeah, I think you're in a little bit of, as I described, you just really got to concentrate on everything. But it feels like everything's hard work, isn't it? You know, we've had the weather, the ground has really changed, the speed of the greens has changed. You've got, as I keep going on, but I think you would be fearing it a little bit if you see somebody in at 1 or 2, whether he's back to even par now, even's best. Somebody gets in the clubhouse at 2 and you've still got 3 or 4 holes to play. That would be quite a challenge to beat them. You know, I think this is as they always want. This is going to go right the way down to the 18th hole. This is not over. I mean, even if you stood on 18 with a 2-shot lead, boy, oh boy, you hit it in the rough and you get a bad look at this. Now he's got to chop it out sideways. He couldn't even, well, obviously a lot of slope, but is that for Is that for bogey? Or is that for par? That's for par. Okay. But these guys all went with driver here at 14, and they've got 100 yarders out this lease. You can't risk, when you got a pin down the left, that's a good example. You can't risk aiming straight at that pin because, a rough will pull it. You pull it a little bit and go in that bunker. And and Adam's still got good pace on the greens.
Well, as the golf goes on, again, let's thank Nick and Briston. Again, thank you for everything you all do with On Point Golf. Incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Game.
Listen, your read is not factual. It's your bestest guess, with aim point or whatever you do, whatever your formula is. As you know, your stroke is, wow, just watching Mr. Burns. So that's a brutal hole there. Yeah, and then your stroke is your best, and how pure can you strike it? Obviously, the putters are getting better and better all the time to give you a great roll. And obviously, distance control is, again, a guess on touch. So if you've got something a little bit more factual lining up, you've read it, as I said, a cup right. Can you put that line down a cup right? At least you've got something. At least you've got some good feedback. So if you hit the bind up a cup and wherever it goes, the pace wasn't, but it's better tip one off.
Ready for our first simulator? I'm gonna throw you on the phone here. You ready?
Somebody like me to demonstrate something.
All right. So the last group is heading to 13. Okay, 187 pins 5 on from the right. So they're a little hold off, a little
cutty something.
Yeah, just the difference for the person at home if they're trying to lay something off to a back right pin. What's going through this mindset as these guys? Everyone.
I need a club.
That would be helpful.
That'd be helpful. So what would you like? Something like a little 7-iron or something.
Yeah, they're going 187, 36 on, 5 to the right. So you got to obviously protect going too far right, but a little cutty out there versus trying to hook one and kill one.
Oh yeah, there I am. Oh my goodness, here's my golf swing. Gosh, I've been sitting for hours, and now suddenly got to produce the golf swing. So how do we make the golf ball? By the spin, you're either trying to make the ball spin to send it to the right. What I used to do back
to David,
right wrist.
If you can move David like as close to Nick as possible, because I'm gonna have David start talking.
So I can hear somebody talking. So a great move was really crank a bit of set in your wrist.
David doesn't know that.
Look at a lovely bit of plane angle there. And on to the angle through impact. So that's one way of doing it. So let's see if I can produce a little bit of, get it back first one. Well, it still went to the right. It's short, but it went to the right. Another way, depending on your standards, another way is to feel like you rotate. If you come into impact, you can actually keep the club face staying open and look where the club will then finish.
And are you still accelerating at that point?
Sorry?
Are you still accelerating? You're not deaccelerating, right?
Yeah, you've got to be accelerating. And it's an interesting way of getting through. If you watch all the guys here, that could help some people as well. So there you go, watch. That fella is going to the right.
And there was the shot right behind you, by the way, that Adam just hit. He hit that club head being held off.
He had that follow through.
Yep, and Sammy's next. Yeah. Let's see if they stay here with Sam and see if he does it too. Because that's exactly what you just described.
Well, Sam Burns is a little bit of my old chicken wing.
Yep.
So if you really want one to go, especially it's a safety shot, you got water down the left and you want to make the golf ball. I used to come in, feel like I led with the heel of the club, come in, so it feels like it's a little open. And if you break this left arm, there's your chicken wing. Again, you've got the shaft angle, but there's no rotation at all. So you watch this will just go straight to the right, like so. So if you need something for absolute safety to stay away from the water, that's what we used to do back in the day.
And was that what won you the Muirfield Open with the chicken wing? Where did you really?
Yeah, there was a couple of good chicken wings. I had a little 1/2 5-iron, very awkward wind, slightly into me left to right, and there's a ridge in the green, send it down the middle of the green, and just and that was a little soft shot and like so. There's the soft arms, and just send it just a little bit to the right, and that was the right idea.
And was that a shot? I mean, I think the answer is yes, but was that a shot you practiced a lot, or was that a feel shot once you got out there
I'll tell
as
you,
a go-to?
30, 40 miles an hour. We thought, wow, well, let's just go out for a few holes. And I went down 10, 11, 12, 13, and came back 18. I thought, no point going out for a whole day because it was brutal. It would wreck your swing. And we went down the 12th hole, myself, David Ledbetter, and we were working on a soft knockdown shot, which I softly, that we heard us talk about soft arms over the years, and almost have like a collapsing finish, bit like we'll call it a Harry Barden finish, but the golf ball would go nice stinging flight. It wouldn't climb, but you couldn't force it in that wing, just to fly. Maybe the man who I started so it's 40 friggin' years ago we started the bloody swing change.
That's right, exactly.
How about that? 40 years. It was June it was started at Blooming Jack's tournament. That's beautiful. Yeah. But 40 years we started on the actual rebuild. It took 2 years before I came out the right end of the
shot on 15, 1 year the tournament.
Yeah.
A birdie on that hole. It was an amazing shot. Yeah. And, so I practice. But practice makes perfect.
As you said, yeah, we worked on that. It was purely from the circumstances of the. Actually, quite useful. I remember I won at Doral. Again, another golf course blowing 30 miles an hour a week.
It's second at 18, right?
And I only had the chicken wing, and I thought, do you know what? I thought this is working. I had this little bunty little chicken wing, and then even on the hole, there was about 3 holes where you had to hook it. I thought, I'll find a way to play it still left to right, and I prevailed. So it came through. Anyway, the reason why Laird is here, because here's a world-shattering announcement. We're gonna shoot some videos tomorrow up here in Montana. We're gonna go right back to the good old basics because we think we can help. As we know, there's tens of millions of YouTube instruction out there. Some we like, some we don't. But we thought we'd resurrect the old team, start from scratch. We're going to throw maybe a little half swing back and through, give you some real, for all levels. Actually, that's what we're going to try and do, isn't it? We're going to try and do for that. The beginner, mid handicap, whatever, and the better golfers. We're going to try and cover all of that, but just the fundamentals, because the fundamentals stack up in our game, whether you're a beginner or you're the best in the world. I mean, I walk the range with my hat on, CBS hat on, saying, what are you working on? And he say, my alignment, my back's up. The fundamentals still stack.
It's still the test of time, and then you can go back to Tom Morris if you want. I mean, the fact is, there's certain things that you do today. I mean, power is a big factor, we know in the game. But I think for so many golfers, if they just learn the basics, stick to it, and you were great with working on little drills because the drills, I think, enhances people's feel for what they want to do. So they're not actually conscious about what they're doing every time they're standing over it. Sort of get paralysis through analysis, but they're able to have a feel for what they're doing. And if you can tie feel into your mechanics, that's the quickest way to improve.
We've got. Obviously, David's he's seen given thousands of letters. I've seen thousands of amateur golfers in Pro-Am. So we've seen it all. And the bottom line is the great line is we've done all the heavy lifting for the last, I've been around 50 years now as a pro, next year, 50 years. So we've been around. We are going to put this together, shoot some content tomorrow, try and edit it up, try and whack it out maybe July 1. And you tell us what you think. So
I have 2 things. One, as you were talking, Bobby McIntyre made a 7-footer for par on 15 to stay to 2 over. Exactly what the On Point Golf guys were just talking about. So that's that key 7-footer coming down the stretch. And then, David, a question for you. You obviously were known as one of the great teachers in the history of the game and everything you've done for the game. You obviously had your fundamentals. But how much did you switch a little bit of your beliefs and core based on who you worked with? For example, when you worked with Nick, Did you have to adjust how you did things, knowing his temperament, his mentality, his skill versus working with a fellow pro? Or did you kind of stick to your guns and say, this is the belief that we need to have to get him where he wants to go?
Well, that really is the key, really, when you're coaching somebody. You've got to be able to get the message across. It's all about communication. The great thing with Nick, I never could figure out which was his strong sensory system, because he was auditory, he was kinesthetic, he was, he
Good listener.
auditory. You'd be clicking away there from a tempo standpoint. So with Nick, it was like, you feed somebody like Nick the information, he was able to sort of assimilate it in a way that he was able to play with it. Everybody thought Nick was a very, very technical player, and far from it. He was very much a field player, but he wanted the technique to know in order to create that feel. So absolutely, I mean, everybody you're dealing with as a coach is different, and how their mindset's different. Some players are more technical, some players are more. With Nick, I mean, he sort of had it all. That was, as hard as he worked at it and the changes that he made, it wasn't easy, because I mean, you get to
brag and that sort of thing to that later. So hey, I want to sit.
You guys go sit, watch golf. Let's talk golf. There's a lot going on.
All right, Nick,
Right.
David, stay with us. Come watch a little golf.
What was that, man?
I said, have David stay with us. We'll watch a little golf. We only got
We're
5
gonna
guys
sit
tied
and
for the lead.
watch, and then it's getting serious now as we keep saying, if somebody can get in the clubhouse, I want to see. Oh, here we go again. Wow, this man has come alive. He's made 2 unbelievably good putts, and now
he's leading.
Wow, leading it even. How about that?
I told you that delay with him, right? It changed everything.
How about that? He goes out in 40, and you're still leading. I mean, boy, do you get put through the ringer of emotions. But you just keep trying. I mean, you've got to give. It's easier said than done. That ability to just keep giving 100%, forget the past, and something.
How much do you think these guys are looking at leaderboards right now?
Well, I think you can feel it. You can sense it. You know that you obviously, as I'm describing, you've got to give 100% of what you're trying to do, because you're just trying to make the best score possible.
Were you a leaderboard watcher?
Yeah, it's important. I thought it was nice, good to know. You need to, like Scotty, I promise you, he knows if he can get to 2, he has half a chance of still being in this championship.
Well, he pitched out. He drove it way right and had to pitch out. Yeah.
Okay, so this is to stay at 3, which, considering there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in front of him, that might not work.
And just a reminder, as we're watching here on Hang, and a thanks to everybody at Hang, and follow them on the social media at letshang.live. And again, we'd love questions from you all at home. It could be U.S. Open question. The great David Ledbetter is joining us with Sir Nick Faldo. Any swing questions you have, let us know. We want to hear from you as we walk down the stretch here. Oh, killer.
My good. Did you see that? Yeah, this is quite unusual to have banks like that. Normally, a ball would slide down, go into the sand. So standing, that will be a key thing to have practiced this week. Standing, awkward stance.
Here's your guy. Danger, man. Oh.
If players had to play a course of this stature, of this difficulty every week, how long do you think their careers would last? Stuck inside somewhere.
Some of them wouldn't be able to pay the fines for breaking stuff, or breaking clubs and lockers and tee boxes or whatever. No, you're right. But I bet if you were on this every week, you'd that would be golf, wouldn't that? I mean, it would be.
I mean, if you look at I remember seeing pictures of Hogan playing the Olympic club. Yeah. I mean, it was almost up to his weight.
Well, yeah. I mean, when Jack went to Muirfield's famous for, waist height, a rough. Jack hit irons all the way around. So I guess you'd learn to adapt. If this was the norm, well, boy, would be great, because if you were a good player, you would be up the top literally every week, wouldn't you? Because there'd be a lot of guys who wouldn't be able to handle it at all.
Well, you can remember in '99, obviously the Jan van der Velde show. How hard Paulucci was. I mean, it was brutal.
There was one area. It was brutal.
So, David, Nick and I were talking this morning. they compare these greens to Augusta, but the beauty of Augusta, as we all know, is the fairways, there's very little second cut. Could you imagine if they just completely shaved this golf course and what it would do around the greens? And I wonder if the score would be the same winning score.
Yeah, that would be an interesting question. I mean, I say if this course was playing firm and fast,
I'll be impossible.
I don't know. I think they'd be finishing on
They'd be 10 over. Yeah, you'd start Thursday. Yeah, many wouldn't. No, it'd be actually impossible. I would have thought if you were. Yeah, you could be playing 10. Yeah, if it was firm and fast, it would be 10 shots harder. Must be.
And so as Spawn plays 15, think about this, guys. Yesterday, the 15th hole had 0 birdies throughout the whole day. And the putting average was 2.278 strokes per on the green.
That's 2.3. Wow.
Is that unbelievable? 2.3 strokes per green with no birdies.
Yeah, but with Spawn, he's in the rough. Sam Burns has just hit a great shot in, so we're gonna get a swing.
I think 17 is going to be a crucial hole because this drivable par 4.
Yeah,
somebody like Adam who could drive it on the green. I mean, obviously they probably can all drive it on the green, but the fact is that somebody could possibly make it 2 there. You never know.
Yeah. And that whole location's 18 on, so they gave the players a little bit of room. They didn't tuck it.
He hasn't, but Adam has failed. So he's had 2 holes now. What was it earlier on in the round? Was it 11? Back 11th green. Well, you watch this. This is going to have to be a really great little stab, professional stab. Oh, and he got too much ball. Not too bad though. I mean, that's 10-footer with at least it's relatively less break.
Well, for any chance here.
Well, just to stick around, and it's.
So you talk about trivia questions. So if you got your 10 handicap club golfer, what are you scoring around here?
There's no way he could break 100. No way.
No,
there's no way.
Possible.
I would have thought that's because you maybe that's a bit a 10 handicap. So what's what they should be normally with the slope? That means they'd be shooting high 80s anyway with the slope.
Right.
So, and with the severity of it, you're going to lose. You've got to lose a couple of golf balls. You've got to do a little bit of everything. I'm sure. I think it'd be more fun if you could get every score on your scorecard. If you could get a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, 8, a 9, and a 10 on your scorecard.
But the funny part is they're probably looking at the distance and freaking out. But the second hole was only 345. They might not finish the second hole.
They can't. Yeah. Well, that was pretty nifty. Well, there's going to be a swing next. So that was Adam's third.
By the way, you mentioned trivia question. We have a winner.
Oh, really?
So
Already?
Vandy golfer, you were 18 shots back of Tiger.
Only 18 back.
All right. And we talked about, here's Haddon real quick. He's not going to make it. We talked about 4 shots a day. If you would have picked up a day, you would have lost by 2.
Say, yeah, thanks.
Yep. So there you go. Two aside.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. We're going to bring on another guest here, Mr. John Klein. I'm not sure if he knows how to operate this. I hope he does, but we'll try not to explain it to him. One of the great New York Giants fans of all time. I'm sure he's worried about their quarterback situation. We won't get into
for the Giants. And so get out of just drilling yourself on the fundamentals.
No, well, if you're smart, you have to try. You might as well try fescue. You know what happens when you whack that? The thing can just literally go 45 degrees left. What else? You know, it's fun kicking the ball into the trees because I never missed the fairway, so you had to kick one in the trees just in case, and then practice knocking them out. And you've got to try everything. You've got to just to see it a few times to get some feedback of what it feels like. But working, especially when you get to the US Open, you just better every single hole drop a couple of balls in and have a whack with and find out which wedge is working the best. that's important as well. What sort of bounce you need. Find the favorite one that works. So the more work you can put in on that, I think you're going to be rewarded.
And John, sorry, John, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if your caddy's with you while you're doing that, so he can prompt you.
We're a full 360 around the chipping green, and exactly as I said, give me tournament lines, and she would go around and drop it. And so I played a silly line, standing on one leg in the bunker, this thick stuff. But it's just feedback. You give it your best stab and you learn. They will always have a tendency, you got to be careful when the ball, other times it's in deep. You've got to come in almost like a V, coming out and even break your arm to help it up. Sometimes you need to actually give it a bit of that. Same in sand. You got to do similar. Oh, that was.
You follow at letshang.live, no matter what events that are done on Hang, to have the ability, as we're watching the U.S. Open on Father's Day, to talk to a 6-time major champion, to have the ability of one of the great teachers in the history of the game. So you're able to ask Sir Nick a question. Again, we have David Ledbetter joining us with what you're working on in your game. Okay. This would normally cost, and David hopefully is not going to bill anybody $300 an hour. Well, we're hoping David waives his fee. We're just hoping, but we'll talk about that later. What question for David of the one thing that bothers you with your game? You can ask David Ledbetter right now. David, I need to do what?
Excellent. Thank you. Yes. Why do I hit my driver so much better on the range than under actual conditions? Is there a mental game I can play with myself to be as good at the tee as I am on the range?
The interesting thing, and that happens to so many players, John, is that you get into a rhythm on the range. You've got all these balls, a big bucket of balls next to you, and you hit one after another. And that's really not the way that exactly the situation that you would have when you're playing. I mean, because, hopefully, unless you hit 3 out of bounds, you're not going to hit 4 in a row off the first tee. So the key being is that you really want to be able to sort of get into a routine, and literally you imagine maybe a tough hole on your golf course. Picture it, get behind it, go through your whole routine, get your rhythm as a result of that, and you'd be amazed if you can actually transfer your practice tee game to the golf course in that manner. But if you don't, it just hit ball after ball after ball. It's just like going to Topgolf, where you're just whacking ball after ball, and that's really not what the game is all about. You look at these fellas' routines there; they're so exact, so precise. They take the same amount of time from the time they walk into the shot to the time they actually make contact with the ball. And if you can learn to do that, you may find a big difference in how you transfer your range practice to the golf course.
I used to try and get in a groove, so back in the day, we had a 2-iron in the bag. So I'd hit a couple of 2-irons because I knew that was steel shaft, and I would hit it good. Then I'd grab the driver, and then, as David's saying, you only get one go. So I used to call them one-hit wonders. So if you stood up with a driver and you hit it straight, that driver worked for you. And obviously, we were testing clubs. If you then stood up and hit one crooked, left or right, that shaft was not in line with your tempo. That was the old way with how we matched our set of club long iron, whack a couple, grab your driver, and then hit it. And if it all matches, that driver is perfect for you.
That's one in your bag. Don't ever go over a 5-iron and 5 hybrid. It's really revolutionized.
Even for the best of players. I mean, it's because getting into 9 wood's the key for most players.
To get away with some misses, 6 irons my longest, because that little 26 degree, I know if I absolutely nut it, I think I can get 195. But if I miss it, I'm hopefully on 185. But if I missed my 5-iron, it's 170 plus. So, we're just trying to look for consistency. I mean, that's equally, if not more, you're either looking for consistency in your game or you're looking for distance. And to be honest, I think consistency would win, 9 times out of 10.
It's interesting now. You're looking at players that, they're always experimenting with equipment. A smaller head, a little bit more loft. It's worth experimenting with.
First of all, wanted Nick to give him a tour of this Hang tool off the bat here. So he thought
this match and the previous watch
Right.
Yeah.
They won ahead, one over.
And with Scotty,
last year to see he got to 2. So if all those guys, then you've got Hovland, Scott, McIntyre's won with 1 to play.
here we go.
If he both have, hey, this is a good omen. 3 bogeys, and he's going to birdie the last.
Good t-shirt.
Yeah, birdie the last to get to just like he hold that putt to win the Scottish Open. Birdie the last to get to even par, he'd win it. My goodness, and he knows it.
And we've got another guest on. So
Wow.
Steve, we'd want to bring you on and say welcome.
Hey guys, how are you doing? This is great. Really enjoying this afternoon, even though we had a little rain. So yeah, really appreciate you doing this. Fantastic.
Thanks for joining us. What do you got for Sir Nick and Mr. Ledbetter?
Well, a couple things. So for David, one of the things that and maybe for Nick too, obviously, I struggle a lot with starting my downswing too quick. I guess hitting from the top is what you guys used to say. And this maybe a drill or two to help that. I just feel like I rush a lot of times, especially with the longer clubs. So that would be helpful. And then also, Nick, I read that you had a hip replacement back, I think last year.
Yeah.
I had mine done back in February.
The same.
And it's been great. So I just
Fantastic,
curious how you're feeling, and I've been able to now it's great.
Yeah, thanks. Mine's great. I mean, I did mine February a year ago, so I'm still working on balance stuff and keeping the strength up, which is really important. So it's taught me a lot about how good your balance is, which is very important in our golf swing. So starting down is really important. So a lot to do with going back up. You got to give yourself the time. If you go up and you're a smidgen short with your turn, then you come down a bit quick. So make sure you get fully. I used to make sure I saw my left shoulder under my chin, so get it all the way under. So once I saw that kind of click, then I could pull down, because I can promise if you're an inch short and you go, then you go, one goes left and you panic and then you drop it and do. So that's important. That can be as easy as counting. You can have 1 back here, doesn't matter where. 2, see your left shoulder, actually say 2, and then 3 is pulled down. And one of the things we did for Augusta in 96, I pulled the butt of the club down, straight down to my right boot. Get me? I wound up and I made the butt go straight, just for this little bit, this little 6 inches or a foot, straight down to your boot. Then obviously you clear. For that split second of just doing that, that's all you're going to need to work on. So take your time. 1, 2, drop it straight down to your boot. It's a lovely feeling, because then you got the shaft of the angle at the right place. If you force it too much. The other very important thing is, you can see my right arm. This distance has got to get greater. If you give it that, you see what you've done. Then you're over the top. So you've got to feel the distance. Obviously, if you butt of the club heads towards your right foot, try that one. Led, you'll go.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I agree there. And Jack Nicklaus is key for many years. One of his many keys. This is the sidebar here. I remember asking Jack one time, how many things did you actually think about in your swing? So he actually said, I could never think of more than 5.
Yeah.
Whoa. But one of his big keys was he used to say to himself, complete.
Yeah.
So in other words, he finished the backswing. Because if you don't finish the backswing, you're going to start your downswing earlier. The other thing you can try, which I always like for a lot of players, is stand narrower, okay, and then actually, as you're completing your backswing, step into it with your left foot. So you move your left foot back to where it actually should be. So you actually give you a chance then, when you get that feeling of stepping into it, that your lower body starts before the upper, because that's the sequence that you have to have. Because when you hit from the top, you're literally hitting from the top, right? That means you're using your hands, your arms, your shoulders. Where if you step into it, you see Padraig Harrington does that a lot. But he's actually played tournaments stepping into it. But it's a very good way of being able to get the right flow going from back to down.
You don't have to hit balls with that one. That's a great one. Make your backswing, step forward, and then throw your arms.
Right.
To do it hitting a golf ball, that is taking it up a notch. But for starters, just make a good backswing, feel the weight, step in, just a little 1 foot step, and then release it. And then at least get your hips in the right position, because your hips are going forward as opposed to either spinning around or dropping underneath, you know.
Right.
So Steve, what have you enjoyed of this week? Do you enjoy watching this carnage, or are you more of a let me see birdies? I mean, as a golf fan, what do you enjoy watching?
Yeah, I don't. Some people say they like to watch the guys struggle because it makes us feel better, and I don't think that at all. I just think that I just can't imagine playing out of this rough. Just the mental, the mental thing that they have to do. I mean, even looking at the water right now. It's my son and I. We were having a bet about who would, or would they finish over par, and it certainly looks like that someone will now. So yeah, it's just it's unlike anything that you see on the other 52 weeks of the year.
And does your son play?
He does. He's 19, and that's really
great.
good.
It's a great Father's Day for you. Have you tried the On Point golf? Have we made you look at the band?
On getting some just to give it a shot. I don't use
hang on. Don't wish to be rude, but we got a serious part. We got a guy. Bob back out of it.
And a little bit of what happened to the players, and then Adam's in the hunt right now. One thing to the players, and then Adam's in the hunt right now. One thing
What do after this?
Okay.
WFNZ.
Yeah, exactly.
What do after this?
Okay.
WFNZ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're partial to Carolina barbecue. So either Bullock's Barbecue in Durham, or head over to Angus Barn for a good steak meal for Father's Day, and that's hard to beat.
Well, I'm in Durham, so next time you're up this way, let me know.
We will. I'll take over to Bullock once we can find Bullock's Barbecue. Tommy and those boys are good people over there.
He's blowing it.
Right.
We've got a lot going on, guys. My goodness. The Cameron Young hold a part in the qualifying.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to you. I appreciate you chiming in.
You guys too. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to leap. See, he knows it. In the clubhouse at 1. So right now, Sam Burns is making an absolute pig's ear of 15.
And I hate to say it, but reminder, a playoff, they switched it a couple years ago. They get up until 2017, they did the full 18, as you know. I'd hate to bring it up in 1988.
Look at this. Look at Tyrrell. This is Tyrrell at 17, his second shot. No way. Oh, he's just plugged it in the bank in front of him. I'm surprised he even took that on, because there's no way he could get some loft under that one. Yeah, that's.
So NF, to reminder, a 2-hole aggregate, 17 and 18, if there's a playoff. And if they tie after that, sudden death starting at 15. So it is a 2-hole, not a full 18-hole, as some people have thought for years.
Yeah, they don't really need the playoff, because if they tied it after 2 holes, they'll be playing tomorrow.
Right, but that would start on 15 as sudden death.
They won't get that in. So we're going to get a winner somehow, because Sam Burns, I think, he's getting close to taking a 6, and Tyrrell
better make 4 somehow.
Yeah, and he's still got to get up the last. And Adam Scott has a few holes. Even here we go. So this is really no idea. Oh, it's a long putt, so I can't imagine. He'll be very happy to. Oh, jeepers, hits the hole.
And a reminder with Spawn too, Nick. He has 1 tour win, Valero, Texas in 22. He did win 1 Corn Ferry Tour win back in 2016 in Knoxville. So it's not like you're
a pretty. So Sam Burns going casual water. Where
a whole lot to draw from. 1 tour win,
and they're running out of holes. The odds. So his whole 2 back.
We always talk about coming down the stretch. Was it still Sam Burns as a teacher?
You can see it unraveling. You just you're in that moment. Let's face it, hits and you don't get many shots of sense the atmosphere. You can Nick. All of a sudden, he just sort of got the bit between his teeth, and off he went. So it's it's golf is one of those games where you just never know until the very end.
Well, we got that situation, Pac-Man, right there. We're down to literally one guy. Look, we got Spawn at 1 on the golf course. We got
Playing
one
17
in the clubhouse. Everybody else, the other. Hatton has a chance. Got a birdie to Lance. Adam Scott's got a basically. Oh boy, it's all gone awry. The pressure of the final day. You know, it's been a long haul all week, and a couple of poor shots. Now you just cannot keep the scrambling going. Brutal.
Well, let's see.
Bobby
Spawn at 17 here.
Bobby McIntyre might win this. How about that?
Unbelievable. So let me ask you a question. Let's get into mindset. Obviously, you know, your first win in '84 at Harbortown, the nerves, everything going through your mind. I don't want to compare JJ Spawn with one win trying to win the U.S. Open, but you talked earlier, staying in the present, staying in the moment, trusting yourself. How difficult is that at a player at your level right now?
Well, yeah, right now these guys, you're on a little bit of a spiral. You know, everything's suddenly going wrong. The mishits are getting punished. You know, and you kind of sense that you don't have that 100% trust. You look at the line and think, we don't like the look of that, and then you mishit it a little touch. It's you know, all these guys now, everything's got magnified, isn't it? All your senses get magnified. You know,
and where did you feel pressure? Where did you feel it specifically? Hands, heart rate, sweat? Like where did pressure on your body? Where was that felt?
Well, it's good. Yeah, it's a good point. Look at this for a shot. Wow, this on 17.
Yeah. Shot of his life.
Wow. So that could save the day. But he's good. That's for
eagle. That's an eagle putt.
Well, I think you take just one. That's brilliant. So that might give him a
2-putt par ball game.
Yeah, 2-putt par, and then you got 4 to win the Open. So
that's what I'm saying. 2-putt there and a 4 to win the Open. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good. Let's watch this again. What a shot! I mean, that is 2 foot off line from 300 yards.
We talked about the rain delay.
You're right. That's like the Morikawa shot at the PGA at Harding Park. No, it's a good call. You know, technically, you'll feel it in your shoulders. You know, because tension go. You know, if you go to a little for kids for fun, you go boo. Everybody, it goes there. So you got to learn that. That you know, you got to shake it out of your shoulders. You know, you'll feel it in your arms. Your arms will feel different. Stomach obviously feels different. I mean, I remember playing my first Ryder Cup, and my stomach churned all 18 holes. That was the first time that ever happened to me. So,
were you ever not nervous in a big?
Yeah, of course. No, never.
Really?
No,
Interesting.
This is a silly thing. People, everybody at this level in our game, any game, like, you know, I fell out my chair when the commentator said, "I can't believe Roger Federer's nervous." I mean, like, I can promise you, everybody takes themselves out, and it's who can handle it. You know, anticipation is a wicked thing. You know, as we talked about, getting your mind ahead of you but you know, dealing with things. Can you deal with it? Do you have all the equipment in your physically, technically, mentally to deal with the shot right ahead? And at times you don't. So you have to make something up. I can promise you don't waltz up to every shot and go, "Oh, I can do this, no problem at all." You look at shots and go, "Oh, I don't like this. Don't like the look of that." Well, you've got to deal with it. So it's either a physical thing, technical thing, or a mental thing to deal with it.
And would that be 13 at Augusta with Greg? Would that be the perfect example of when that happened?
There's many before that. You look at, there's so many tough shots at Augusta. I mean, the 6th hole, that pin on that back shelf.
Back right.
Yeah, you've got 990 yards from the top of a hill, aiming at the size of 2 dinner tables. You know, seriously. So you've got to see these guys. Look at this; they're hacking away, and it's not.
We have another guest we want to bring on here.
Wow.
Let's bring on our man. It's not Simon Cowell, but he just doesn't want his last name to be said. It's just Simon. It's like Madonna and Rihanna. It's just he goes as Simon.
One named man, Simon. It's late for Simon, I believe.
His nickname is 20%. I don't know what that, but Simon, what do we got?
He'll be lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've just woken up, and I can see Bobby Max in the clubhouse. what happens here? Does he?
Right,
What does he do when he's in the
guys
clubhouse?
are absolutely melting down. It's funny. I've been, since we came on 3 odd hours ago and said, what would happen if somebody posts a score? And it looks like that has happened, and many haven't been able to react. They found that the depression that just a smidgen too much. But this man has just hit the career drive of his life. If he knocks it in, he's got the mega cushion. So that's what he'd be trying to do. But I promise you, he'd take a birdie and the opportunity of 4 at the last to win, which is just needs one perfect tee shot. It seems like it's not a long hole, 18. Just get the blooming thing on the fairway, and then you've got a great opportunity to win. But as you saw, look at these guys. Scotty here and Sam Burns are just suddenly hacking around the greens. Tyrrell as well. This golf course is. I always used to say the US Open, it'll be whoever won. It was Tom Kite. Tom Kite won US Open 155 because the golf course would beat 155 other players, and one guy would conquer the golf course. I think it's what we're going to get this week. One guy's going to conquer it with possibly level par to win. Everybody else is going to be over. Amazing! What a battle!
But JJ Spawn bogeyed 5 of the first 6 holes of his round today.
Yeah, the rain delay. I'm telling you, it was the rain delay.
Yeah, he managed to come back. He was Mr. Consistent through most of the tournament, wasn't he? That was his first shocking run, and then he's managed to get back in the groove. Find some consistency. He's made 2 great putts. Really, and now he's hit 1 great tee shot, and everybody else is really battling. I mean, Victor is out for par. Yeah. So that's So he's going to stay up for him.
No, that's
half a chance.
Remember this too. It was so.
Or is. I mean, to maintain you. And a couple of good guys.
Cyril Hatton was looking.
I'd Spawn's head.
Cyril Hatton was looking.
I'd Spawn's head. He's go. Or he's just going through.
This would be the cushion, which kind of.
He's go. Or he's just going through.
This would be the cushion, which kind of. Still got to throw a little caution to the wind. He just wants to get this to track perfectly. If it's the perfect way, thank you very much. But he doesn't want to rush your blood.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. No Coldplay here.
No Coldplay. Just wants a cold-hearted. Oh, it's a great try. They still got that. A big 3-footer.
Outside of Victor.
Still just. And where's Ortiz? He's 3, so he's got to
has to make birdie.
So how do you feel when you stand over a 3-footer like that? With that, you
better make
feel anything.
So when you go through the same process, come on, you double check your line and you make sure you strike it square, keep everything moving, keep the breathing going, all those sort of things. I think Sam Burns he's having a nightmare. He's made 3 6s on this night. And another bogey. He's had 2 doubles and 2 bogeys. Yeah, how would you like this one? This to give you a 1-shot lead. That was big. Whole saying 4 to win. He's had.
I think he hit 17 greens.
Yeah. Tyrrell is.
Advice for these 2 knuckleheads tomorrow on top of the mountain in middle of Montana. And any advice before we let you go for these 2?
Any advice? Well, yeah, if you're up in the mountains, you need to make sure you got a nice cup of tea on the go.
Cup of tea? Are you and your cup of tea? No, we're going to be
sunscreen. We have sunscreen.
We have sunscreen and hydration. If the weather's gorgeous, it's probably might be in the high 70s and beautiful. Oh, wow. We're going to make a movie. We're going to make an instructional movie.
But what Nick doesn't know, because he's in his little dungeon there, is it was blowing 40 and pouring down rain out here 20 minutes ago.
Where?
Right here.
You're kidding?
No.
Really?
Yeah, we're good now.
Well, we get these little pop-ups because we're getting this beautiful heat wave right now. Adams everything is unbelievable how these guys have they battled so hard and now they've just collapsed.
So we're gonna follow Spawn playing 18.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna wrap it up after that if it looks like, because the playoff will be determined tomorrow. They've announced, so there'll be no more golf
we
tonight.
don't need. Well, he's got 4 to win, and otherwise he's coming back tomorrow.
Yep.
He's got 4 to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, we will keep you posted how tomorrow goes. If you don't hear from us, that's not good. Just so you know.
I look forward to it. Enjoy yourselves tomorrow up the mountain.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
I'll speak
Thanks,
to you later.
Simon.
Yeah.
Night, guys. Bye.
Good night. And again, you see the banner below, On Point Golf. Click on it. We've had so much great feedback on it, and now here we go, Sir Nick. Walk me through. What are we going through?
Well,
here?
he likes that little fade. The most important thing is you hit the shot you know you can hit. There's no point in doing anything fancy right now. Double check alignment.
Wow.
He's really happy with that one. He's
Coached by one left arm at the top, but
and then was the Mountain West Player of the Year 4 years later. So obviously a hard worker. That doesn't happen by accident.
no, exactly.
So obviously a hard worker. That doesn't happen by accident.
No, exactly. I know Bob McIntyre hasn't got a suntan, but he looks like the blood's been drained out of his face right now. he looks
Beard off. He had a full beard when
it really was the Ryder Cup, in Rome. There was moments in the sings about the Ryder Cup because you do that week. There may be. I mean, if this doesn't happen, he will be. I promise you, his mind to be thinking of the Open at Royal Portrush straight away.
And it's crazy thinking about Spawn with this major success. His best finishes so far in the Masters, tied for 23, PGA tied for 35th, never made the cut in the U.S. Open, and never played an Open.
Wow.
And in handling the pressure, how he is since the back nine.
Wouldn't have picked him at the beginning of the week, would you?
No, not even in a crazy 5th round, take a flyer on somebody. It's unbelievable.
All right. There'll be fireworks when Tyrrell limps this putt down to the hole.
And not I this is not to make to beat up on Liv, but the what he just felt in his stomach today, knowing you're not going to have that again till Portrush, and maybe and obviously the Ryder Cup if he's on there. Does that say a little bit about that tour, Nick? I mean, it's you got to miss that. I mean, he didn't tee off on 5.
Yeah,
he teed off on 1, right? I mean,
there's an incredible motivator outside the cut, busting their how does less about earning an extra. And basically, obviously, the players on Live have got the last laugh because we've got many players who we've never heard of playing in $20 million tournaments. You've got guys given tens of millions in a guarantee. You've got guys being given hundreds of millions in a guarantee. And golf, there was no guarantees in my day. You had to play for it, all the time, every week. Sure, the better you, and it was simple. The better you played, took care of everything else. Yep. Simple as that. It changed your lifestyle. Obviously, if you win tournaments, you get contracts, sure. But that's not guaranteed money each week, Yep. You still can miss the cut and go home. Back in my day, if you missed the cut, it was 0. There was none of this, you still get, I don't know what they get now. They still get 10s and 20 grand just for being in the field. But I'm sure it has a little bit of the mindset, Right, here it is. This is it.
So again, you can only have 7 from the right, so you're not messing with that right side, I assume.
Well, he's got that nice little fade going on. This is perfect for it.
His life, right?
This is it. It's still a long way, 200 yards. Wow. He just wants it to fade a bit more.
He likes it.
Oh, it's a wicked long. Look at that part.
Moment.
Around the hole, if I'm going to miss it. Around the hole, if I'm going to miss it. Right or left edge, just to hold it. High left.
They're still
right or left edge, just to hold it. High left.
They're still in the mix here because a birdie's focus, or in the mix here because a birdie's focus, or Spawn doing his own thing.
He's got a 2-putt to win. Victor has got to birdie and
has to make birdie.
Birdie to a bogey. Birdie and
has to make birdie.
birdie to a bogey. So, you know, Spawn knows it's 2 putts to stone dead, or it's 2 putts to stone dead, or he's got it inside. Victor's trying to just try and look where his top is the face, trying to just try and look where his top is the face. Aren't these things happen? That will be, aren't these things happen? That would be nice.
Wow. McIntyre didn't
be a little too late. No, completely in your bubble.
Did you find yourself crosses nervous and give Nick nerves? Or
You know, I mean, you start with him. Yeah, start with him. Yeah, go play like that. Yeah, probably, you know,
somebody
go play like that. Yeah, probably, you know,
somebody to talk to, or just kind of get out of the way? What was your?
No, it's a bit. Yeah, I agree. It's a bit like, yeah, that looks good. I mean, you can see it and feel it and everything.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if a player's really hitting it well, I mean, just let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have any questions, it's like, hey, let's feel this a little bit more. And normally you're working on the same things you've worked on anyway for the whole week, so it's not like it's
So while we got time, I'll
new.
tell you one funny story. So we're at St Andrews, 1990, and on Sunday, Led comes back to me. Well, I'm on the range, and he says everybody's coming up short on the first, right? You know, over the famous burn, pins right over the burn. And so, this is day one. This is day one of the 1990 Open. And when Led comes back to the range, he says everybody's coming up short. And there's a bit of more breeze there. It's spinning back. It's coming back in the burn. So I think I hit my 1 iron down there. And so sure enough, I've got 9 iron into that pin. And so I said to Fanny, let's be smart. Everything's coming up short. Let's hit an 8. And then the wind gets up. So then the wind starts blowing. Oh. So I grab a 7 iron. So I grab a 7 and I make a soft chippy swing, because you button it and this thing goes whoosh through the pins. And I'm now 35 yards on the freaking back of the green. I got a 35-yard putt going back. And I'm like, all right, just relax. Just relax. You know, luckily I nudged it down to a foot, and it's a nice story. So, oh boy, look at this. Meanwhile, it's starting to chuck it down with rain. I mean, how about this to win your Open? Talk about, this is, wow. This is, what's this strength thing? Anyway, was that 44 feet or something like that? I saw.
Yeah.
44 feet playing 48 feet. But that'd be an easier way from the stats, Mr. Statman, rather than 138%, whatever that means.
I think Mr. Spahn will be paying attention to
this. He's going to love this. This is a huge help for him.
This is damn near a mulligan. It's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I agree. He's got the sway, or he's gonna. I watched the guy's backswing, you know, to give me a clue of how far he's taking it back and see what speed the ball comes off. That's a nice indicator to help you, you know, if you need to copy something, because he wants to copy that, the weight of the putt, and you can see it break. It's down and across. Oh, he's given him a great read. Wow. And if he could beat that, I think he would really take it, wouldn't he?
You know what? I wish they should have had a camera on Spawn the entire time watching it.
No, you're right. They should have been on his face. So
split screen with Spawn, because that was the story there.
Well, yeah,
it's not this. It's there we go.
That's a great. There we go. It's 8 feet of break at least. So he knows if he hits it 9 feet of break and a smidgen softer, it could be it.
Yeah.
The scary bit is, of course, the pace. Now you've got the read. So if you get too tight and you come up way short, you just don't hit it hard enough, it will go off sideways. And it's more likely you're going to hit it too soft than too hard, to be honest. Yeah.
That's his short game coach, Josh Gregory.
Yeah.
Yep. Old SMU coach. Yep.
Yeah, I think when you get super nervous going up and over a hill, you tighten up a touch. So
that's what I was asking, where your pressure came from and where you felt
getting on with it. He's getting on. He's done it. He's done it. Oh my God, he's done it. Oh my God, he's done it.
I mean, just unbelievable.
Is that the greatest finish ever? Wow. Thank you, Victor Hovem. I think he owes him a.
Yeah, I think
No question.
I think I'd buy him a car for that one.
No question.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
How about that?
That'll go down the annals of history. Oh my goodness.
My goodness, in the pouring rain, threw everything at him, and he does that. I mean,
that was perfect speed too, wasn't
it? That was unbelievable.
And you know what's crazy, Nick? In the rain delay, they went to Tiger in 08, and the putt that he made at Torrey Pines, this putt you got to put up there with Tiger. I mean, it's.
Well, that's even better. That was even better. You know, to win it. There's very few people have ever made a 3 to win a US Open. Yeah.
Well, think about the last 2 holes. I mean, the shot he hit on 17, and then what he just did there on 18. That's as good as it gets.
Wow.
16 was masterclass too.
So now I know then the adrenaline rush just goes wallop out your body. You've been on adrenaline high for 7 days, definitely 5, and then wallop. You've done that. Oh my God, that is what a finish! What a great way to finish. That'll be in the highlight package for ever and a day. Wow. Oh, let's see it again. How did he do that? No, Victor, he's got to thank. Poor old Victor's got a putt, mind you. But how about?
I mean, he didn't look like he was in it.
Just
last hour.
That
The rain delay, different animal.
You and your rain delay, gosh. I tell you what, that is.
Amazing. While we wait, let me we got one question here.
Yeah.
TP52, what do you got for the crew here as we wrap up our amazing hang presented by On Point Golf here with the US Open with Sir Nick? What you got?
Hey Nick.
Hiya.
If you were a leader by, let's say if you're at the British Open and you're the leader by 1, how do you keep your cool?
How do you keep your cool? Yeah, we've been talking about it. You just got to keep visualizing. You got to keep seeing it. And you can't say, "Oh, I hope I don't 3-putt." You know, the don't word is not good. You've got to say, "Right, I'm going to hit it down the fairway." You've got to have a clear vision, and obviously you've worked darn hard. But, you know, it's all about. For me, it was keep talking to yourself, keep seeing it. You've got to visualize it. You've got to see the golf ball going in the right place. All those sort of things. And well, you know, actually keeping your cool. You know, I actually did work on you know, reducing your heart rate, slowing yourself down, slow your walking down, slow your breathing down, all those sort of things. So you put all of that together, slow your tempo down in your golf swing, put all of that together, and that's, you know, that's. But the other great thing is you've got to put yourself in that position and make a mess of it and learn from it. That's the other important thing. I don't think it's, you know, this doesn't, you can't just pluck this off a tree. I think you got to get in there and blow a few tournaments. And oh, here we go. We've got this putt again. I mean, he literally mimicked Victor's Latin Canyon. Oh, where did that putter land?
So Nick, let me ask you a question, and David. So as we wrap up, let me ask you guys a question. The USGA, obviously, they want to identify the US Open and their setup as the best player in the game. And you have a story like this. How is this possible? Or is this just golf and belief?
Well, you have to come in. Yeah, they've got it right on the number. Their mind, the USGA's goal is even par, isn't it? They want even par to win the tournament, in the championships rather. And so, boy, they got that literally spot on. And to do that in our world, in the pro world, you have to make a golf course really difficult. You know, to slow the best in the world down to, you know, 1 under winning. That's nice of Bob McIntyre. I mean, that.
What can you do? He played his ass off.
Yeah, you're beaten fair and square. So he did. He's had a great week. As I said, he can't wait to go to. If I was him, I'd get to Portrush early. Go and have a week there. Get used to everything. So,
who would you say when you look at JJ Spaun winning this that it would compare? Would it be sort of like a
Ben Curtis?
Ben Curtis winning the Open, or
Sean McKeel?
But
PGA?
it's a little bit of an overall moody going back. I mean, it's really, I wouldn't say he's a no name, but he's not really a household name, is he?
Jason Duffner, Sean McKeel.
Well, this is his first win. My goodness.
Second
win. So
Texas,
there
yeah.
you go. Meanwhile, these poor guys are coming up the last. They've just seen that, heard that.
And here's what's crazy, and then we'll wrap up after this. David, imagine if JJ beats Rory at the Players. You're talking about a Players champion and a U.S. Open champion. I mean, think about how crazy that is.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, final thought as we wrap up. Again, we want to thank On Point Golf, great sponsor. They've been tremendous all day. Again, visit them on Point tomorrow for you. But just kind of your thoughts as we wrap up. And first of all, say Happy Father's Day. But U.S. Open and your hanging experience, and we'll get it from Sir Nick, and then say goodbye.
Oh, I think it was great. It's, much prefer to listen to Sir Nick than these commentators out there, So, but no, I mean, look, getting some insights, having a bit of fun. I think that's what people do when they're watching sport, right? They're sort of joshing about other things and not just necessarily just listening to the broadcast itself. So I think this is a great way of watching these events.
And Sir Nick, your thoughts to wrap up the week as we say goodbye.
To wrap up the week, well, I think, you can kind of predict you're going to get a different kind of winner. And I did say on Thursday, the only problem with the setup, it does stifle the best players in the world. There's something about it. They get frustrated that they can't, pull off their best shots. There's nothing worse than hacking it out. So, in the big picture, you saw what happened. They lost a lot of good players at the halfway cut. So getting a guy like this who, hey, all credit, played like, I mean, this is the amazing thing about this week. He's played like a major champion all week long, hasn't he? I think his stats will be the best. I think he's like made 12, maybe a few more. He's maybe made like 16 bogeys and 17 birdies. So it's to get him to that score. But to deal with the pressure and what he did over the back nine, went out in 40, which is scary. And
was he Tiger with 40-30? Is that what he's trying to impersonate?
I can't do the maths for what did he finally shoot today? But what's he come back in?
Well, 1 over, right? Wasn't he 1 over or 1 under or 2 under when he started? 78 with Sam. Wow.
So he's out in 40, but so 31. Come back in 31 to win the Open. How cool is that? I mean, that is a life changer and a great Open. I mean, a great finish. I mean, all credit to him. And these guys went on it. You fight the spiral all week. You're ever spiraling up because things are going well, and then when things go wrong, you're spiraling down. We very rarely stay level, and these guys have just hit the wall, and it's beaten them up. This finish.
Yeah, he shot 40-32 at 2 over, 32 on the back with a bogey. Pretty amazing.
40-32, which is, I mean, and these poor guys are just putting themselves in through the ringer.
Yeah.
Wow, 79. That will hurt.
78-79 last group.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for everybody, as we wrap up again, happy Father's Day to everyone. We had a great hang at the U.S. Open. Reminder to follow Hang on their social media at letshang.live. And happy Father's Day, everyone. Sir Nick, David, we really appreciate it. We had a great day. And thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
See you soon.